I'm against inheritance tax. If that money has already been taxed coming in, it's a double taxation.
Exactly.
That's a non-starter for me. But I'll go the other way with it. I'm for reparations, but not in a cash payment sense.
Okay.
Let's provide tax credits to people so that they can do
talked about that before.
And that's what you get. You're not getting a cash payment, but we'll credit you this tax against the government because you paid in or things were taken, whatever.
Start a business.
However we're working. Yeah.
Build generational wealth.
We'll provide you with
Here's a way to do it.
interest-free loans, tax credits, things like that. Small SBA tax-free loans.
Well, that was Senator Rand Paul's idea. Hey guys, it's the Twisted View, Leland Conway, along with Benjamin Allbright and my friend Christian Toto as well. By the way, if you like the show, click the little bell icon for notifications. Find the Twisted View podcast on your favorite listening app. Got suggestions? Don't like us? Don't like what we say? We really don't care. Just go to ihateleland@twistedview.com. What's up, fellas? How are you guys doing today?
Good.
Awesome.
Good. Glad to be here.
I wanted to kind of breach the subject of something that's going on in California because I'm worried that it's going to happen here. It's already happened here in a sort of a smaller scale, but Colorado is trying to become California in a lot of ways. And they are proposing a ballot initiative, because Colorado's set up the same way, where they are going to have the entire state, which is like 40 million people, vote on a tax that would be assessed to just 180 California citizens. So 40 million people get to vote to put a specific tax on 180 people. That seems fair, doesn't it? I mean,
Very
that's
fair,
democracy after all. The way it would work is if you have over $1 billion net worth, okay, doesn't matter if it's realized. You could all be on paper. So we know that Benjamin is worth $1 billion on paper, but
not in California.
He shops at Walmart. He shops at Walmart because the real paper money he's got is. I mean, I just gave him a shirt. So no, but no, they if they have over $1 billion net worth, they are going to be taxed 5% of that in a one-time tax. So this is going to raise $100 billion, which is the shortfall of California's budget. So they're going to divide it into 4 buckets, $25 billion a year, and drop $25 billion in each bucket, and it's supposedly never going to happen again. We all know what happens to taxes that are supposed to be temporary. But the concept that 180 people would be taxed by the other 40 million, and we have done it in Colorado. Quick explanation of it before we talk about this. In Colorado, a few years ago, they decided we wanted free lunch for everybody at school. And so the state put a ballot initiative together and said, hey, let's vote to tax everyone who makes over $300,000 a year, the top 1% of income earners, a little tax that will pay for free lunches for everybody. So you had people that made $299,999.99 that were able to vote to steal money from people who made $300,000 so their kid could go get a free lunch at school. We've done this before. Mob democracy is not real democracy, is it?
Well, I think, at its fundamental core, that is exactly what it is. That's the problem with, democracy is great until
it's a mob.
Right.
Benjamin Franklin said, we only have this until the public figures out they can vote themselves a largesse from the treasury.
Right. And that's, I have questions already about this. What's the mechanism in place to make sure it never happens again?
Right. Great point.
How are we determining somebody's net worth? Are you just trusting them to write it down on paper?
So that's a great question. Because California's setting up a whole new bureau for this one-time tax.
Of course they are. Yes.
And every single California taxpayer, whether they're worth $1 billion or 100, has to declare their net worth. And if they lie or erroneously write something down, right? And honestly, I don't know my net worth from one day to the next. Because there's seriously, there's fluctuations in your portfolio.
Mine goes from this to this to this to this.
But if you put it down wrong, there's hefty fines for that. So it's very invasive too, because everybody that doesn't have $1 billion also has to report what they do have.
My first question with any new law is, okay, what's the mechanism to keep, if it's going to be a limited thing, what's the mechanism to keep it there? Because I don't trust you. And then what's the enforcement mechanism? Because I don't trust you.
Right.
And so already
this is why we're friends, by the way.
Right. Already I see problems here before we even get into, the theoretical philosophy of it. I already see problems with it from that angle. I don't I don't know. I remember a few years back. I don't like our income tax system the way it is. I personally think that we should move to some sort of national sales tax and ditch the income tax.
Fully agree.
It's regressive, and you'd have to tax something on the front. I don't want to get into all that right now, but that's.
Oh, we can, because Polis says he's for it. Do you believe him?
I don't believe that he's for the same thing that I'm for.
Okay, all right.
Which
we'll come back to that, because I think we should that should be part of this conversation.
Okay, because I tried to wire this. I tried to come up with something that would work. It was similar to, I don't remember if you the fair tax that was back a few years ago.
That's what they
similar
called it.
to that, but like I had some different a few.
Europe
different
calls
angles.
it a value added tax.
Right.
Yeah.
But anyway, beside that point. You can't do both, though, and it feels like that's the direction that we're headed in with these things. First of all, I mean, like this is part of my problem with Trump's tariffs. Like it feels like we're doing both here with that.
Right.
If you're going to do a national sales tax, which solves a lot of problems, we solve immigration problems off that right off the bat. They'd be paying into the system and not able to withdraw.
Right.
So. Anyway, I'm already going to go down. I'm already ready to go down the rabbit hole.
Taxes.
I'm already ready to go down the rabbit hole. This.
Yeah.
There's multiple problems with this, multifaceted. The implementation of it, the mechanism to it's never going to happen again, because when has that ever happened?
Yeah.
And then when are we going to have? What is the enforcement mechanism on that? If I value something, it's something, and you value something, it's something. What's the arbitration method there? For instance, let's say I've got 100 Bitcoin, right? And market value right now is whatever, but I value that at what I bought it at. And are we doing the unrealized gain there?
Right. That's what apparently it is.
That's where they expand the government to get more people.
That's what I'm saying.
Checking your eyes,
and we're
teeth.
creating a bureaucracy on top of this to do this. It just feels like a dead on arrival thing, and especially we're taxing how many people? 180.
180 people roughly.
Those are billionaires, right?
Yeah, they all have a net worth of $1 billion or more.
And I get it. You got more money, you got a little more social responsibility, all that kind of stuff. I get it, but
do you though?
Well, I've been told that my whole life, and so I don't like the idea of. You're taxing 180 people without a voice, and this country was founded on the opposite precedent.
But they'll say they have a voice; they can vote. So it's 99.9999999%.
This is a little deal than Plymouth Rock. There's a little bit of difference or disparity that landed on Plymouth Rock, and it's 30 people voting against 30 people or whatever. When you've got, this is creating a voiceless. Not that anybody's going to feel sorry for billionaires for a second. I get it, but at the same time, that 180 people in this particular instance is billionaires. What's that 180 people going to be next time?
I'll be contrarian. I'll feel sorry for billionaires if they made their money the right way. And we all know that most billionaires made it through cronyism with Democrats and Republicans, right? I mean, the truth of the matter is...
You can get to the M, honestly. You can't get to the B, honestly.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. Okay. But the amount of risk that a person who is a millionaire or a billionaire has to take to get to that level... No one ever talks about that. No one ever talks about, the nights spent working, 80, or the weeks spent working 120 hours, the weeks and weeks and weeks where you don't get to be with your family, the risk, the effort, everything that you put into building a business that maybe eventually we look at the back end of that as a society today, because we have a society built on envy right now. We look at the back end of that and we go, how in the world did that person get $18 billion? Well, there was a lot that went into that process, and no one ever pays attention to those risks that they have. I've got a friend that owns a chicken franchise, and she started out with one location, working 120 hours a week, leveraged her house and her kids' school money, right, for college. Now she's very, very wealthy. But that was 20 years ago.
There was no guarantee that was going to develop into anything.
Yeah, because if somebody doesn't show up at the chicken factory, she's the one that's got to work because she's the business owner. The buck stops with her.
I think years ago I did a story about millionaires, and I interviewed a bunch of them, and every one of them had almost the identical story. They started their first business at 11, their second business was at 13, maybe at 15 they did this and they did that. And the amount of hours in a day that they worked was just unbelievable. It was just they never, ever, ever stopped.
Right.
And they risked things and they lost things, they learned lessons. And that is admirable, and it's really hard. Now, again, the billionaire, I get that. I get that distinction there. And by the way, this could be a great like John Wick revenge movie. These 180 billionaires, they want to get revenge on us.
Right.
And they hire these security teams. I see a lot of Hollywood potential here.
Yeah. I mean,
Blue blood revenge.
You can only tax Tony Stark so much, and there's no more Iron Man. You know what I mean?
Tinkers with stuff, man.
What are we going to do without Iron Man?
Not have great movies. there's an economic engine behind what billionaires do too, and that gets lost in the process. They, what we're gonna get hit back with in the comment section right now, and I'll preempt this already, is the inherited wealth.
Sure,
that's what we're gonna get hit back with. Well, that's I hear you, but we can skip over that for now and come back.
Well, let's pause
because. Go ahead.
No, well, finish your point, because I want to come back to that, because I think there's a legit conversation about inherited wealth.
Okay.
To call out
the engine of the people that make this money are tending to provide the grease for the economic engine overall. They're tending to provide jobs. They're tending to buy properties. They're tending to build on those properties. They're creating jobs to build those things. It tends to have an economic downtrace on those kinds of things, and that gets left out. There is a necessity to having those types of things. It's just, I think, I don't remember which one of you said it earlier, that we live in an envy society, but we kind of do. That's the thing. We all want to be a billionaire, but nobody want to do the work to be a billionaire. As you're talking about the effort that goes in, and you can look at, love him or hate him or whatever, Elon Musk. Elon Musk works his backside off.
Yes.
Like, I want to say words I can't say on here. He works his, he does. He's one of those people.
We're not governed by the FCC.
All right, then bleep him. But he's these type A personality type things, which it's weird for me because I've been both over the course of my life. Like when there are times where I'm type A, and then there's times where I just want to be lazy and not do anything. And so I can kind of understand both viewpoints, but I've seen it from those who have not, or those who are not willing to work to get to that point. They want it instantly because we're such an instant gratification society as well. And so that's what this is. We see an instant gratification. Well, we can solve this problem right now by taking more of your money.
Yeah.
You have it. Why can't you give us some?
Yeah. And if it's successful in the short term, they'll just keep doing it, right?
And that's where I'm leading.
And then when did that 180 say, okay,
they just found $100 billion they can spend on something else after they plug the budget hole by just extending this one more year. Right. I want to go back to what you said, though, about wealth inheritance tax. I'll give you inheritance tax if you drop reparations, right? Because the whole point of reparations is that I am responsible for somebody that was 3 generations prior to me, what they did. Yeah. Okay. Which, how do we even determine that, right? Because at the end of the day, maybe my family all died and sacrificed fighting on the side of the Union to end slavery, right? But if somebody is going to hold us financially accountable to what 3 generations did before, then if that holds, then people who make wealth in generations previous should be able to pass it on without a bunch of government grabby hands coming in, because we're saying, hey, you earned it because the last generation did it. And you, even though you didn't lift a hand, we've set the precedent that the next generation is responsible for whatever the last generation did. And if the last generation earned $1 billion and gave it to you, well, hey, you're a billionaire and you shouldn't have to have the government come to take all your money.
Well, I'm against inheritance tax. If that money has already been taxed coming in, it's a double taxation. That's a non-starter for me. But I'll go the other way with it. I'm for reparations, but not in a cash payment sense.
Okay.
Let's provide tax credits to people so that they can do
talked about that before.
And that's what you get. You're not getting a cash payment, but we'll credit you this tax against the government because you paid in or things were taken, whatever.
Start a business.
However we're working.
Build generational wealth.
We'll provide you with interest-free loans, tax credits, things like that. Small SBA tax-free loans.
That was Senator Rand Paul's idea, and he creted opportunity zones, and it wasn't based on race. Right. And that's what you can't do. You can't base it on race.
It needs to be racially blind, but if you can prove that there's some sort of reparation or you want to get involved in that program, I'm for that way to try to even the playing field, and it's capped. It's capped at this country was founded on, you've hit the day that this country, and that's where it's capped. And then once you come in and you've exhausted it, it's exhausted.
Yeah, once the current generation has achieved that, now we're done and we're all on the same playing field economically. Right.
But once California fixes its budget woes with that, you think they're going to be so fiscally responsible that that doesn't happen again?
No, they've got $25 billion a year in new revenue. It's going to be in the new program.
They're just going to displace it. They're going to say it's for the budget.
The University of California Clown College, and we got free scholarships over here.
How many people are going to wet their beak on that plan?
Yeah, I mean, we got to start a major at Southern California on underwater fire prevention or whatever. So that's got to happen.
That was my minor, actually.
Was it?
That's why I'm here.
At the Nancy Pelosi School of Stock Investing.
Yes. But I'm concerned. The reason I brought this up is this is a California story. Is I'm actually genuinely worried that's the direction that Colorado's going. And it's if we've already done it on a small scale, it didn't hurt. Right. I mean, you asked me when I told you about the story, you're like, what was the outcome? It was successful. Yeah. Everybody gets free lunches at school.
Yeah.
So why not repeat the pattern and just do it a little bit more next time? Because, Polis is out there saying that, whatever Trump is doing is costing the state. It's why we're in a budget hole. What's stopping them from coming to the people of Colorado and saying, hey, there's about 200 people in Colorado that have over $500 million in net worth. We should tax them 5% of that, right? One time, and take that money away.
But then they're going to keep going back to the well. At the end of the day, for me,
exactly.
There's a better way to do this. Let's incentivize business or private entities to donate charitably to cover that gap with a 1.5 to 1 tax credit or tax rebate, and then there you go. Then we've solved the problem. We haven't created a new bureaucracy. There's not a new tax on anybody else, and that money can be economically efficiently plowed back into the local economy.
We were talking about this the other day. What if we could allocate where our tax dollars went inside the government? Do you know what would happen? Overnight,
we would have nothing in the arts, and we would have the cleanest streets imaginable.
There would be no potholes, and there would be plenty of police. That's it. And nobody would give a freaking dime to anything else. That's the way to go.
I think we should do something similar to that, though. We could do a 64, like a general fund. There's a government general fund. 40% goes into the general fund, and then you could decide where the other 50 goes.
Think about the limiting power that would have on government. Like to say, okay, 50% of taxes. Like in Colorado, we're set up like California, where theoretically they can't raise taxes on us without our permission. We all know they fee us to death, and that's their way around it.
Surcharge.
Yeah, and even though thanks to the Independence Institute and folks that kind of ran this several years ago, we tried to limit their ability to do that to a $100 million enterprise, and they just created 18 enterprises for one type of thing, so they got around it. But think of the limiting power if you said half of what goes in there is for the state legislators to decide where that money goes, but the other half goes to these concrete things that we select, that we choose, and we get. And because I guarantee you, there would be very few people who currently vote for taxes that are for the kids or that kind of stuff. They would put all their money in the damn potholes. And in policing, because those are the two things that affect us more than anything else. If people could choose, it would be a massive self-limiting exercise on the government.
And here's the part the liberals don't get. Meet me over here at camera 2. Meet me over here at camera 2. Is after you fix the potholes, there's plenty of money the next year because all the potholes are now fixed to go take care of the kids and whatever else you want to put the money into.
But then if you're a parent with kids in schools, you'll funnel your money that way. And as soon as your kids are out of schools, you'll don't want to.
Right, everybody, we all do it on self-interest, right?
Schools are not a waste of money.
We spend more per student than anybody in the world.
We need to fix how that money's being allocated. Right, but I think it's fair that if somebody does have kids, but for me, I don't have kids.
I don't either.
My wife and I don't need to give a dime to your kids' education.
And I don't like my kids, so I don't, it's the same thing.
You only keep them around for the tax deduction, is that right?
He's like, yeah, I'm popping out a new tax deduction this year on answer.
Yeah.
Sorry, boys.
But I want to go back to the fair tax thing that you mentioned, because I've been a long time supporter of that, because it's actually a progressive tax.
It's close. It's close to being, like, I'm not 100 behind it. I'm like 85% behind
Okay, so what's holding you back?
The prebate idea that they have.
By the way, Polis says he's for this in Colorado.
And this is bipartisan support. When it first came out, I was like, okay, we got a game plan here. We're close. And then I don't know what happened to the support as it fell off, but the prebate portion of it doesn't work as intended. And then on the top end, I love the fact that we're adding it back in. It's not going to raise the cost because we're stripping out a lot of payroll taxes and everything else. Love that. But the prebate portion of it doesn't work.
Explain how that works for
people.
So
what we do in order to make it economically equitable, the government sends you a check, which is prebating you for some of the taxes. The idea is to take care of low-income families that can't afford this kind of stuff, and it'll eventually phase itself out. But the prebate portion of that doesn't work. You wind up creating a government welfare sort of welfare check sort of set up there that is dangerous, and I don't want that precedent involved.
Wouldn't it be better suited to just basically say either up to a certain income, you're tax exempt for certain categories? So in other words, you are tax exempt from any kind of, first of all, we should not have taxes on food and medication. But let's say you make under $100,000 a year and you have 4 kids, then you're tax exempt for purchase of clothing. You're tax exempt for purchase of school supplies, any kind of medical care, obviously, any kind of groceries, etc. Wouldn't that work better? Because when you don't have a lot of income, you're spending most of your income on necessities. versus when you have a lot of income, you're spending it more on wants. And that's where we really get people on this tax. You want to go buy a yacht? Hey, that's 16%, brother. Okay, I got it. No problem. That is the fair tax at work. Would that
I'm
solve
with you
the
on that.
prebate problem?
The system that I came up with, and I'll shoot you over the white paper sometime. I
love it.
I'm a nerd.
I love it.
I'm a nerd, so I sat there and did this. So I eliminated the prebate. We came back with what I called a blue card, which is basically if you're a certain income level, you've got this card and it exempts you from the taxes on 4.
Does it replace the EBT?
Yeah, it replaces
So there is no more food stamps.
We wipe out SNAP.
No more welfare.
We wipe out all this stuff.
You have to actually work for a damn living.
Right, and we call this the blue card, and the blue card is it eliminates the taxes on food, energy, transportation, fuel. If you're low income, food, energy, fuel.
Yeah, okay.
And so like you come back and
fuel should be another one exempt if you're under there.
Cell phone, internet.
Yeah.
So it eliminates all those necessary things for you to get around these days.
Right.
The problem is you've got to safeguard that because everybody will try to cram their industry into the necessary portion of it. But if you can do that and eliminate the taxes on that, and then you would have a 2% fee or surcharge every year for everybody whose net worth's over 10 million. That's it. That solves it. You don't have to do the prebate. You don't have to do anything else. The math works, and you'd have. But
wait. Let me explore the 2% fee. That's an unrealized gains type of tax
across the board. Unrealized gains.
Damn, you're a socialist, bro.
I'm not, but that's the way. That's the only way I could make it.
Is he not a socialist?
That's the only way I could make it. That's the only way I could make it revenue.
Then why not just cut the size
Next
of
mayor
government?
of Denver, apparently.
I'm here for you have to, but you have. I mean, you have to do that. This is as is,
Right?
Like a dollar for dollar as is. Now, if you cut the size of government,
can we get rid of the 2%?
You can get the fees
surcharge?
down. The more you reduce government, if you can reduce government up to about 27%, you can get rid of the 2% charge.
Would you take that, Christian, if it was offered to you right now on the table?
No more income tax.
Give me that money over there.
The only thing that you got.
Give me that money right there, brother, on the table. You got it. You taking Benjamin Albright's tax plan?
This real?
He's taking Benjamin Franklin's face right there. So.
Sit up for a couple In-N-Out burgers.
Finances is not my strong suit, so I don't know for sure. But I trust the people at this table more than anyone else in government. So I don't like that. But it's the only way I could make it net revenue neutral without getting into philosophical oddities that I don't want to.
Well, there's going to have to be compromise because we live in a country that's not all libertarians, and if everybody thought like we did, then we would not have the problems that we have. Yeah. But it's a step in the right direction. I think that's the thing that concerns me is that we're starting to get to a place. Colorado is unfortunately set up the same way California is. I saw that. That'd be $25 is the tax on that. It's a $100 bill. No, but Colorado unfortunately is set up the same way California is, and we've got to get away from this envy-based politics. I want ambition driven by self-interest. I want to do better for myself and my family. That's different than envy, right? You've been successful in business, Ben, and I respect the hell out of that. I'm becoming more successful in business. It's taken more time for me. Christian is successful in business. We all have different outcomes to our situations. We have to respect that, but also respect the ambition and drive to ambition. We're losing ambition in America today because there's no shame on not doing the right thing for your family. We've made it so if you're not feeding your kids, there's no shame in that. We'll give you guys a free lunch. Yeah. Like, I'm sick of that. I'm tired of that. I'm done with that. Like, I want people to go, hey, man, I'm not pulling my weight in society. I feel ashamed of that. Therefore, I'm going to be driven to go and do something to make my family's lives better, my life better, and society better.
Adam Kroll has got a great little line. He said, when I was a kid, there was a rich person in the neighborhood, and you just see them driving by in this expensive car.
Yeah.
There's Mr. Jones. I want to be like Mr. Jones. Isn't Mr. Jones amazing? I aspire to be that person. Today, right now, you look at Mr. Jones and say, screw that guy.
Yeah.
He's got my money.
Yeah.
It's a really weird shift in the culture.
Yeah,
which is not healthy.
Totally.
It's because
he's got my money.
It's process and result. We've excused bad process in order to get certain results. We would rather win lotteries than put the work in to become millionaires. You know, we would rather pay, sit there and shill out money for lottery tickets than we would do that. It's the same thing I tell, I tell kids anytime I give talks or anything like that. I'm like, don't come to me, come to me asking for a free lunch, and okay, I might pay for your lunch that day. Okay, whatever. Come to me looking for an opportunity, and I'll make you a millionaire.
Yeah. Yeah,
come to me looking, I'll give you the tools to get yourself there. If you've got the ability to do it, you're going to have setbacks along the way.
I'd like those tools.
They're out in the car. Come on. But I'm just saying, like, come to me if you're looking for opportunity is what I can afford you. I can get you opportunities, and I can help get you there. But it's not instant.
Yeah,
and some people just don't want to put the work in.
Can I borrow a couple bucks for lunch? Thanks for watching The Twisted View. I'm Leland Conway along with Benjamin Allbright and Christian Toto. Until next time, check us out on the Independence Institute's YouTube channel.